You know what's funny? For the longest time, I thought being liked was the secret key to a smooth life. Liked by friends, liked by coworkers, liked by my landlord. But here's the paradox most people miss. Being liked by my landlord didn't feel like security. It felt like a trap. Strange, right? You'd think approval means peace. But what if I told you that needing to be liked by anyone in authority can quietly destroy your freedom, your confidence, and even your mental health? Stick with me, because this story isn't really about landlords. It's about why chasing approval can backfire, and how breaking free from that need changed the way I live. Let's set the ball rolling with Section 1, the myth that peace is the same as being liked. Now, let's challenge a myth that, if you're a good tenant, they'll treat you well. Sounds fair, right? But here's the reality. Landlords are business people. Most aren't evil, but most aren't your friends either. And businesses respond to leverage, not loyalty. Think about it. Do you call your favorite customer difficult when they ask for a refund? No. You fix it, because you want to keep them coming back for more business. The same principle is applicable here. When you assert your rights calmly and consistently, you're not being difficult. You're being a responsible tenant, and that's what earns real respect. Section 2, the landlord metaphor. We're just scratching the surface here, because this next piece might just blow your mind. Let me start by painting a vivid picture. I once rented an apartment from this landlord who seemed nice enough, always smiling, always dropping little comments like, "You're one of my favorite tenants." At first I thought, great, being liked means fewer problems. Maybe he'll even fix the broken sink faster. But slowly, I noticed something. Every time he hinted at something, like keeping the hallway extra tidy or not inviting too many friends over, I'd feel this weird pressure. Like I owed him something. That's when it hit me. It wasn't kindness I was feeling. It was control disguised as approval. Psychologists call this the approval trap. In a classic study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, Cialdini and Goldstein, 2004, researchers found that people are more likely to comply with requests when they feel liked by the requester. In other words, when you crave approval, you become easier to control. And I thought, wow, if this is true with my landlord, where else am I letting it play out in my life? Section 3. Why being liked isn't always a blessing. Here's the problem. When someone likes you, it feels safe, comfortable, like a warm blanket, but that comfort comes with strings attached. Think about it. Have you ever stayed late at work, not because you wanted to, but because you didn't want to disappoint your boss? Or laughed at a joke you didn't find funny, just to keep the peace with a friend? That's the dark side of being liked. It can keep you stuck. According to a 2017 study in Frontiers in Psychology, approval-seeking behavior is strongly linked to higher stress levels and lower self-esteem. Why? Because when your worth depends on someone else's opinion, you lose control of your own compass. That's exactly how I felt with my landlord. I wasn't just paying rent, I was paying with pieces of my independence. Section 4. The psychology of approval. Keep watching because the real shocker hasn't even been revealed yet. Neuroscience tells us that being liked literally lights up the brain's reward system. A study from UCLA in 2016 found that social approval triggers dopamine in the same way as food or money. No wonder it feels addictive. But addictions come with costs. When you're hooked on approval, you'll bend, shrink, and even betray yourself just to keep that dopamine hit. And landlords, whether literal or symbolic, pick up on that. The moment they sense you need their approval, they start shaping your choices. Not out of malice, but because it's human nature to leverage power. So I started asking myself, if my landlord's approval isn't freedom, what is? Well, the answer to that comes in the way we think. Section 5. Be friendly, but not familiar. You can be polite without being personal. Say hi in the hallway, nod, smile, but don't overshare. Don't invite them in. Don't become buddies. Why? Because familiarity can backfire. And this is even proven by a 2020 study from the Journal of Urban Affairs, which found that landlords who view tenants as friends are more likely to overlook maintenance issues, assuming they'll understand, and less likely to respond quickly when problems arise. Strange, right? But it's true. When someone sees you as a pal, they stop seeing you as a contractual partner. And that's when things fall through the cracks. That means you should keep your interactions with them friendly and respectful, but completely professional. Section 6. Where ancient wisdom meets modern hacks. Funny enough, ancient wisdom has been whispering this lesson for centuries. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, don't chase being liked. Chase being free. And modern psychology backs it up as well. Researchers in Self and Identity, 2015, showed that people who focused on self-validation instead of external approval had greater resilience, better boundaries, and higher well-being. That's how I started experimenting. I stopped worrying about whether my landlord thought I was good or easygoing. Instead, I focused on clear boundaries, paying rent on time, holding him accountable for repairs, and keeping the relationship professional. It wasn't always comfortable, but you know what? I slept better. I felt lighter. And strangely, he respected me more when I stopped needing to be liked. Section 7. Why this matters beyond landlords. Here's the takeaway from all this. Because, as you've seen earlier, this video isn't just about landlords. It's about a pattern many of us carry. The need to be liked in any relationship where someone has power over us. Your boss, your parents, your in-laws, even strangers on social media. We all have landlords in our lives, people whose approval we think we need to survive. We think, if I'm nice, they'll take care of me. But real safety doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being seen. Seen as someone who knows their worth. Who speaks up. Who doesn't disappear when things go wrong. And that's what I want now. Not to be liked, but to be respected. Because respect means you'll call me back, you'll fix what's broken, you'll treat me like a human being with rights. And that's worth more than a smile. Let it be born in your mind from today that you don't need to be liked to be respected. You don't need approval to be worthy. And you don't need someone else's smile to live in peace. What you need is self-trust. Because once you stop renting your confidence from other people, you finally own it. Section 8. Closing reflections. This fact alone that you have just learned could rewrite the rules for you. Now, when someone asks, don't you want your landlord to like you? I say no. I don't want to be liked if it means being controlled. I want to be fair. I want to be clear. And I want to be free. And here's the irony. The less I chase approval, the more genuine my relationships feel. Because people sense when you're standing on your own 2 feet. And that kind of strength is magnetic. In other words, ask yourself, who's the landlord in your life? And are you living for their approval or your own peace of mind? If this resonated with you, don't just let it sit. Hit that subscribe button for more deep insights into the psychology of freedom, boundaries, and self-worth. And hey, drop a comment below. Tell me about the landlord in your life you're finally ready to stop pleasing.